appreciate each and every one of you. If you would please make sure to hit that like button. It will greatly help push me through the analytics, but it'll also help us reach a on here. And it'll help us reach our targeted audience. It would greatly help us push through the analytics, but it'll help push this through, and we'll find the people that we need to get here. We have a lot to talk about today. I'll put on the charts in just a second, but right now we've got XRP, which came down overnight, as we know, to about 48.5 cents. So if you're interested with XRP or crypto, make sure you watch my morning update. It went very in-depth between XRP, but also with Bitcoin as well. So pay attention to that and make sure you get that information. But we need to take a look at the grand scale of the markets, not just with crypto. We need to look at the DXY, how it's come down under 103.20 or right around there. Gold went up about the 2054 level before coming back about $7 or $8. We'll look at commodities to see how they're looking, but we'll also look at the 10-year government bonds, the yield, to see exactly how investors are looking towards the Fed rate hike decision, or maybe the Fed is going to cut rates. We don't know, or stay the same. I would expect them to stay the same. I'd be shocked if they raise rates. I'd be a little surprised if they lowered rates as well, just because they put it out there, the markets. The markets definitely are not bracing for a raise. So it could be a market retracement here. So that's what we're going to be watching for very closely. And we're going to be paying very close attention. I'll be doing probably a live with Jerome Powell at 2:30 when he comes on during his live press conference. But I wanted to make sure to do my due diligence on the charts here. So please make sure to hit that like button if you are in fact watching this. I greatly do appreciate everybody tuning in. I'll turn on the comments. I see there's 22 people here already. 12 likes. Make sure to hit that like button. The only other thing I want to do real quickly is timestamp this. So good early afternoon, 1:14 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. It's crazy to think that it's the last day of January already. Like, where the hell does the time go? To me, that's just insanity that we're already where we're at. So, but Trading with J-Ride, welcome in. JW, good early afternoon, welcome in. Howdy, my friend. Martin, welcome in. Yes, the 24-hour roller coaster. Remember, for anybody who was here last night during the live, we talked about after the first few hours after the drop, all of a sudden everybody was taking out shorts, and then we're up 3, 4, 5% from the bottom, and everybody's like, well, what the hell is going on here? I think it's exactly what we were anticipating, what we were thinking was going to happen. And with the Fed rate hike decision, or whatever their decision is going to be, the Fed rate decision today, 2:30 is going to be very interesting. So let's get into the charts, though. I do like that background, actually. I do like that background. You guys even got to see my dining room area where all the coats and stuff are at. So what an awesome view you got for that 7 seconds. Jorge, good afternoon. Martin, welcome in. David, Kevin, Jose, good evening. Or good early afternoon. Good to see everybody in here. Let me turn on my camera. So basically the Dow's up 37 points. We've got a lot of volatility in the markets, especially crypto. Commodities are kind of going back and forth. But let me start with the Dow. We'll go into the DXY after, but the Dow, I don't even want to keep a lot of these levels. Like these intermediate levels, we don't technically need that. It was a pivot point. We don't technically need these. We already have the broadening wedge set up. So let's try to clear this board. So this is what we're looking at. The technical target from a breakout of the broadening wedge on the Dow was a target of around 39,984. Does it have to hit it exactly? No. But that is the technical move on a continuation up. And we have continued up pretty good. If the Fed doesn't raise rates or they lower rates today, you could expect some to the top side volatility in the Dow and the stock markets. So it's going to make it very, very interesting. And now look at the U.S. 10-year government bond. Is anybody here who's watching surprised by a 7 basis point drop here to 3.96% or down 1.76%? Can't say that we are. Can't say that we are. In fact, we came to the bottom side here. So this is where it actually makes it very interesting. because we are in desperate need of a much bigger consolidation. And there's no doubt about it that 2.96% could happen. But I think you're more than likely, it'd be more honest if it did come down to around the 3.7% and create this inverted W here, unless it's double topping or creating like a head and shoulders formation. I still think there's a 58% chance that we come up to 5.9% after it creates whatever this inversion is. I think it's trying to create this inverted pattern now, and the weekly's harder to see it, but the 4-hourly, it's starting to come down to what we were talking about. You have that initial tug, you come up, and then you make what would be an inverted head here, if it's going to stay there. Otherwise, if it were to drive straight through here, I would not be surprised to see it at 2.96%. You see Russia came out not to, and no, everybody, I've got a lot of comments. I did not cut my hair. See? Everybody, I had like 6 comments on my opening video this morning saying, oh, Tom gave up, he cut his hair. And what people mean by that is I said I wouldn't cut my hair until XRP hit $1, and it's been over 6 months. Haven't cut it since July, like mid to late July of 23. So it just looks like I cut it because it was, my hair is, I didn't like wash my hair today with like shampoo or anything. So it's been a couple days. So now it gets that natural oils. And it slicked back because it was still from my shower. But now it's just the way it's going to be today. Apparently I'm going to have a nice oily hairy day, or oily hair day, which is always nice. My hair always looks good when it's got a little oil in it. So anyhow, I did not cut my hair, so I will debunk that already. My hair has not been cut, and I mean, my goatee, does it look like it's been cut? No. So if I didn't cut my hair for my aunt's funeral, there was no reason to do it a couple days later, you know? So this is something that I stand by. The US 10-year, though, look at the 4-hourly. We're oversold. Daily, we're going to come down there. 3-hourly, we're going to be oversold. 2-hourly, 1. So this is continuing the push that it needs. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. If you want this to rotate down and get a little more consolidation, we're doing it in the smaller time frame. So just watch that. Don't be surprised at any point between here and 3.7 something percent, about 3.68%, where you could have a reversal and create that double bottom. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. The DXY is down 0.19% or 20 cents. 103.21. Down to the 200-day. And this is the estimated bounce point. If it was going to bounce, it would be somewhere in this range from the 200. If not, then we just have to see from the 20-day a rejection. You'd get a target down instead of up. If you go up, you're at 104.53. If you come down to consolidation, you're down to about 102.29. Which honestly, if you're asking me, with the rotation it's done in the last 24 hours, I could see this happening and then starting to do something. And then we'd either say, oh my God, look, it's creating a right shoulder, or the Fed speaks or whatever. It just does the quick jump. And then it's either it comes down to finish off the shoulder, or Fed speaks, finishes out the technical move, starts to create, and then it just bounces out if it makes it look strong. But if the Fed is cutting rates, I can't see how that's good for the US dollar. With all of the money that's out there, with how inflation's running rampant, why, if you don't raise rates, would it be good for the dollar? You need them to raise it exponentially, and then the dollar might have a little bit of life here. Russia just came out and said they're cutting US dollars. They're dumping them. I said that this was going to start being the unified response in 24. As we get closer to BRICS, it was a BRICS headline about Russia. If you don't believe me, just look it up. U.S. crude oil, I don't think, this is another thing. We're looking for an active stock right now, actively, when it comes to crude, actively. But it has to be priced in U.S. dollars. It's down 2.49%, and as I've said, it's not out of the woods yet. We came up to resistance around $79, but now we need to see, does it come down back to 69? Is there some leveling playing field? I'm not ready to just commit to anything yet, but damn it, I'm looking hard, and we'll go through a couple things in a second. But it's down 2.49% or $1.94 per barrel to $75.78. We did a deep dive into WTI a little bit yesterday with as far as the reports going for the market. You know, just a overall value report, basically a value report, I guess you could call it. But right now, if we do consolidate here, we still have a little bit more room. I would love to see us come back down to this uptrend and reestablish 72.50. If I'm being honest, I want to establish that as the real uptrend. We've already now had a pattern confirmation And I'll show you what I mean. This pattern started up here. Why isn't it letting me, oh, there we go. We had a resistance. And you even hit it here again. You could decide where you want to start it. So resistance 1, resistance 2, support, support. You've hit it 3 times now on support. Boom, support, boom, support, boom, support. Resistance the 3rd time. So basically resistance, bam, to support, bam. Let me redo this. Resistance, it came through. So it comes down. First resistance, back down. Second resistance, back down to first support, up to second support, back up. It hits it again, and again, it's proving this support up to resistance. So now, does it make sense to come back down, or do we break through? We've already targeted this. Resistance, support, I mean, you could say you're hitting this in 3 separate areas now. I'm not saying that is what contradicts a pattern, but what we've already done, it tells us the pattern. This is an ascending, it's an ascending formation. You basically, instead of a descending triangle, it's like an ascending triangle. It's closing in now. It's getting narrow. So something's going to have to be done here. But I would be all for it to come back down like XRP did last night and clear this out. We'd be extremely oversold. It probably doesn't have the steam to come all the way down there. But man, would it benefit if it came down another $3. Just putting it out there. Gold's up about $11, up about 0.5%. Very uncertain times here with gold. What it's done, though, by coming up here is it's pushed itself into a danger zone. It's pushed itself into a danger zone because now we're getting into that overbought area. And I'd much rather be in these time frames going into a Fed meeting oversold. This just tells me we might have a premature bounce after the Fed decision. And then for whatever reason, it's going to get smacked back down. I still think 1930 is a possibility. I can't get that out of my head. That 1930 on this ascending formation, it just seems like this is what we're trying to do. It really does. We're having higher highs. We're having slightly higher, higher lows. Some could say you're having a neutral high, but you are getting higher highs along the way. It's just, I think it's telling us a lot by going up here before the Fed decision on rate hikes or rate cuts, or if they're going to stay the same. It's really telling us something here. Almost tells us like we could have an artificial rise up and then we're going to get smacked. Definitely don't want that. Small W reversal here as well. So to me, this is taking the, no different than what crypto did before the 10% dump yesterday with XRP, was taking the route to rejection. But then not all dumps are the same. Just because it dumped doesn't mean it's over. Like, look at this in the weekly. That definitely could be I think that's a fake reversal candle right now. It would have to come down farther. Right now, that kind of looks bearish. Disguises along like doji, but not quite. Maybe a gravestone, but not quite. I mean, it's in between. It needs to come down a little bit. That's where the weekly, it gets me confused. The weekly would have benefited if this would have just pulled down to like 2000, we'll say like 13. It would have made it look a lot. It would have been a lot more presentable here. Now it just looks like it needs to squeeze to the bottom a little bit. I don't know. This makes me uncomfortable with how precious metals look right now. I own a lot of precious metals. Some gold all the way down at 1,400, as high as around 19. Some silver all the way down to about $14, up as high as I think it was 26, 25. So I'm no stranger to precious metals, and it makes me uncomfortable from a perspective of buying a commodity right now when something just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem right. And I shouldn't be saying that because we've had a successful cup and handle. We put a successful handle here. It just seems like, I don't know, something about the rate hike decision is telling us something about metals. I hope I'm wrong. And after the rate hike decision, it goes up $500. Because that is a reversal in the weekly. It seems like it's layered us up here and somehow we're going to layer back down. It doesn't even mean we have to break through the weekly. It just is telling me something's not right here. You should not have had an artificial run up leading into the decision. We should have had a dump down. And then we could add a lot of support thereafter. I don't know. It just seems like to me, initial bounce out and then pullback. But anyhow, we got to get through this because we're going to have the Fed rate hike decision here tonight. Or at 2:30, so about an hour. So I got to get through this. Almost done here, though. Gold's 28 people watching, 28 likes. Can't ask for more than that. The gold silver ratio is at 88.80. It's already come up to 919, but as I've been very transparent with, I don't think that necessarily it's going to go higher than that. Right now, we're going to see at the resistance point at 89.62. And I know the top of the pattern's higher than that if you break to the next layer, but that pivot level is there for a reason. That means, you just don't have the strength to come back up to 100 to 1. And to me, when you look at these time frames, we're starting to push into a pretty overbought on some time frames. We've got room, I think, to come up to at least a resistance point here at 89.7 or a double top at 91.6. I think it's still worked in there to do one or the other there. B2 gold doesn't look great to me. Like I said, the last couple days, it's trickling up. You have to make a decision, but when you get trickling up like this, just look back to your XRP pattern. Eventually, these are bearish reversals. This is a very unified channel here that's formed. Typically, it'll come up it could come all the way to the 100% level, even more. But when it comes up like this, it's just telling you in time we're going to run out of steam here. A lot of room on the daily, which is why we speculate whether or not we'll come up here to 315 to retest the broken structure. But something is not adding up with precious metals. It's not. Even this recovery after a 10% dump by B2 Gold, we've recovered some of it, but look how slow it's coming up. Nothing about this is reeking to me that, oh my God, there's buyers coming in and rushing. To me, it's telling us like we're looking for a big drop in the 30-minute that could wipe out this entire move and bring us down to 2.4. I can't help it. I would love to buy more bank. Yeah, oh yeah. Absolutely. Let's take a look at silver as we speak. Islandville Campy. Several bars of it, actually. $23.05 for silver. Down 4.42%. That's why the gold-silver ratio is up today. Silver, though, it's had that immediate drop that I'm still thinking silver and maybe commodities can have. This is exactly what I'm talking about. A quick drop in the 30-minute. Now, the question is, can it come all the way down to 22.49? Well, you'd have to get through the 30-minute time frame here, which it's still got room. It doesn't look like it's done yet. We'll know at $22.97. Hourly, though, I mean, if we're on the retracement back down, there is room. It could absolutely get us to that pivot point. What would make me very happy is if it reached X marks the spot at $21.50. But as we've discussed many times, does it have the room? Does it have the ability? Does it have the testicular fortitude to drop down like that? Reversal candle in the 3-hourly. Right at the spot where we could possibly have a golden cross, but we know we have a death cross in the daily. So is the 3-hour outweighing the daily, or is the daily starting to have a reversal? I'll leave you to speculate. And then we've already talked B2 Gold. Last but not least, Fortuna Silver Mines at $3.10. Fortuna Silver Mines has had a mighty breakdown, but as it goes, see how it looked like on a break up? You could go up there. Now we can remeasure the breakdown. And now you can see it from a perspective of, hey, we're not breaking out. In fact, we actually had a breakdown. And that breakdown, if you break down, it's $2.54. And let's just say somehow, some way we found buys. I would also like to give you the break up target as well, because it's reemerged if we were to break up. That's $3.85. I would say, with how it's looking at for the rate hike decision, something tells me metals might be in for a scare here. I can't explain the feeling my gut's giving me, but it's seemingly telling me, like, pay attention, Tom. We should get a retracement here. Something's happening with the midday at 2:30. So have a blessed afternoon, everybody. Make sure to hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel and joining the over 20,000 subscribers, as I'm truly honored, privileged, and blessed to have that many subscribers. I can't even believe it. To the ones who stay dedicated on the midday market report, I know it's tough, but I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. If you'd like to show me support, you can always join Tom's Army or send a YouTube super chat, or simply by hitting that like and share button. Have a blessed afternoon. I should see you in about an hour when good old Uncle Jerome speaks. We should have a lot of fun with that. Stay blessed, everybody. Have a great one, JW. True. Same with you as well, my brother. Yes, the Swan Dive approaches, but yep. Have a blessed one. If you guys want to come back at 2:30.